Good morning. How's things? Bit bleary-eyed this morning. Up late watching the Masters, watching Sergio finally break through and get his first major. Found myself a little bit emotionally torn, to be honest, because obviously, I wanted Justin to do well, but Sergio has been such a fantastic performer over the years, such a fantastic talent. Broke through as an amateur at the age of 17, and just wanted to see him kind of get that major, just to sort of get the best player never to have won a major moniker off his back. But fantastic tournament, fantastic golf, really enjoyed it. One of the best Masters I've watched for a long time. Anyway, I'm outside, as you can see behind me here. I'm outside New Broadcasting House, the BBC's HQ in London, and a different starting point today because I'm going to talk about communication, or the lack of it, and how that's one of the deadly sins of talent development. So. All about? Well, a few things happened last week that I think are really pertinent, and I'm just going to just start with this story that's often told by a good friend of mine who works with a lot of talented sports people at both the elite level and also in the talent space. Jamie Edwards, who you probably saw on a video I posted the other day. Jamie and I have known each other quite a long time, do quite a lot of work together. Supporting people who are involved in talent, talent development. And Jamie's got, a significant, extensive client book, very high profile sports people. He does a lot of work with, with academies and all that sort of stuff. And one of the things he talks about all the time is how we need to stop having chats and we need to start having conversations. So, what does he mean by that? Well, so his idea is that the difference between a chat and a conversation is a chat has no purpose. There's no outcome. There's no focus to it. There's no nobody needs to do anything as a result of the dialogue, the exchange of information between the two individuals. A chat is and also, a chat lacks honesty. So, and this is one of those things that in the talent space it happens a lot, and it's very challenging, I think, for people to navigate. So, what are we talking about here? Well, and the example I'm going to use is so some of you may have seen that. Yesterday there was a whole load of stuff about Luke Shaw and Jose Mourinho, in going public about Luke, and saying about his he needs to, I think his words were, he needs to grow up, or these are the kinds of things, And then subsequently there was a little bit of, a bit made in the press about Luke and. Or certainly the watching the punditry, he saw Luke. Did he bounce back? Did he get a response? Did he perform well? Now, essentially, whether it was, the best way to do that through the media, going public, what Mourinho was doing, and this might be a bit of a controversial piece, what Mourinho was doing was basically having a conversation. Now. These things, Mourinho doesn't do anything without thinking it through, and he wouldn't have gone public without first having conversation with the individual involved. And I don't know what that conversation might have been, but what I do know is what he said publicly was essentially a conversation, because what he was basically saying to that individual is, there's a couple of courses of action here. You can either respond and say, no, I'm not having that. I'm gonna improve. I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna do, what it takes to, to live up to my potential. Or I'm gonna I'm going to step away. I'm going to go and do something else. I'm going to find an alternative place to go and play my football or whatever it might be. And it was, it's a pretty in-your-face, honest conversation. But nonetheless, it was an honest conversation. It was saying, you're not living up to your potential. You're not, you're not living up to the contract that you have with the club, and you need to improve. And without, hitting a level of improvement, you're probably going to have to look for alternative employment elsewhere. So it was a pretty direct and in-your-face way of bringing about a performance improvement in an individual. And to be honest, from Mourinho's perspective as his coach, it's a win-win, isn't it? If the individual doesn't respond, probably goes somewhere else, and you've got some significant wage bill off your books. You can look for something else, or you get the player that you're looking for, and then you get the results of that in terms of the performances you get on the field. So that was now some people don't like that. Some people in our world, they'll say that that's brutal. Shouldn't be doing that. What will it do to the individual's confidence? How will it impact on his ability to perform in future, etc., etc. You could be destroying this guy's career, blah 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 blah. And I just don't buy that. And I actually think this is something that's started to really infect a lot of the way we're engaging with young people now, which is we're not having that honest conversation. We're spending all our time having chats. We're lavishing false praise on these individuals. We think we've got to bolster their self-esteem, because if we don't bolster their self-esteem, their confidence is so fragile that they'll crumble. In actual fact, the exact opposite is the case. Because when we lavish this false praise on individuals, or we're constantly trying to bolster their self-esteem, it's actually based on a fundamentally flawed foundation. So whenever they then face significant challenge in their lives, they haven't really got any experience to be able to call upon, to be able to bounce back, to be able to use the the tactics or the techniques that they use to overcome that particular challenge. They haven't got what they need in order to do that. So that's a big issue. We've got to be putting challenges in front of individuals, because if they don't have those challenges, we're not giving them the skills, the tools to be able to manage, when it comes to the hard facts of, a life in performance sport. And this is ultimately what, when we're working in talent, we're doing. We are preparing young people for a life of performance sport, a life in performance sport. And that is hard. And it's not for everybody. And unless we place these sorts of challenges in front of young people when they're on that developmental journey, they can't make informed decisions about whether this is the career path for them or not. If one of these young people comes up against real difficulty and their only response to that is walk away from it, well, there's no real point in pursuing their development if that's going to be their response. However, if we can place the challenge in front of them and give them the kind of support and help them navigate through these challenges, well, we're actually setting them up for a potential success. We can really propel them way beyond where they've gone in the past. But we can only do that if we're prepared to have those honest conversations. If we don't have honest conversations, we don't communicate effectively, and we don't we sugarcoat things continuously, then they're never going to get that genuinely real assessment of where they are. And it's difficult, because it's difficult to be that it's difficult to know when to do it. It's difficult to know the methodology to adopt. It's difficult to know the language to use. It's difficult to be that person who is both friend, nurturer, supporter, and that person who is holding a mirror and saying, this isn't good enough. or you're not stepping up, you're not reaching, you're not stretching, you're not adopting that every time philosophy, to borrow a phrase from Mark Bennett, another one of my compatriots. So honest conversations, and just going into the difficulty of that and the challenges that people face in doing it. One of the reasons it doesn't happen is often, again, because of the fear. So the fear is all those things I mentioned earlier. Oh, we'll ruin this individual. We won't give them what they need. We won't, or they'll, their confidence will be shattered, and we'll lose them from the system, and they've got real ability. Well, it really doesn't matter how able they are. It really doesn't matter how physically capable or how technically adept or tactically astute they are. If they haven't got the ability to overcome challenge, solve problems, well, ultimately, when it comes down to that cauldron of challenge, cauldron of difficulty that is high performance sport, unfortunately, they're going to be found wanting. And too many players get there by virtue of their ability, only to be found that what they're lacking is the what you might call, I guess, the mental tools, the mental capacities to be able to manage in that kind of environment, in that kind of scenario. And those of us who believe that avoiding that and not getting there, we're just doing them a disservice, and this is my issue. So as much as we might find difficulty in giving them that challenge or difficulty in having that honest conversation, if we don't, we are letting them down. We are setting them up to be less successful than they possibly can be. If we know deep down there's time for that conversation, there's a time for that conversation, and we avoid it, or we don't have that conversation with enough honesty in order to bring about the change of behaviour that we're looking to do, then ultimately we are not going to give that individual what they need to help them develop and improve and succeed. And so we're abdicating our responsibility, which is an absolute sin. It's a travesty to do that. And it's totally and utterly unacceptable for any high quality, self-respecting talent developer to do. So one of the things we need to think about when it comes to the deadly sins is we need to stop having chats. We need to start having honest, quality conversations where we genuinely ask people what it is they want to be, where it is they want to go. We map out with them what that looks like from a behavioural perspective, what it looks like from a developmental perspective, what it looks like, and then we hold them to it with absolute rigour. We don't back off. We never take a step back from the goals that they have established for themselves, unless we then say, you said you wanted this, and you're acting like this. So we either change what it is you want because you're not on a trajectory to achieve that, or we redouble our efforts on what we're doing, or we stop. Straightforward. They're the kind of honest conversations we need to be having with these individuals. And anybody who thinks it's anything other than that is just avoiding what is a fundamental principle, and in my opinion, a massively overlooked area when it comes to working with young people. We think it's all about the technical, tactical, the skill, everything else. It's actually about these kinds of qualities. We spend less time on these, and we need to spend far more. And actually, when it comes to people working with talented youngsters, coaches, parents, actually becoming more adept at having these kinds of conversations and actually getting skilled up to do so is a really, really essential component of the armoury of any serious talent developer. So if you haven't spent time on this, I think highly recommend you do so, because it will massively increase your ability to support these young people. Okay, there's my Monday rant. Hope you enjoyed. See you same time next week.